How's it going everyone, Jimmy here, and today I want to show you guys a glitch that I discovered in Street Fighter V, specifically with the buffer system of Street Fighter V. I initially discovered this because I couldn't get EX Shoryuken to work consistently in the knockdown situation, and that would really drive me crazy because I thought my execution was just really bad, but it turns out it's a little bit more than that. So let's take a look at my first example just so you see what I'm talking about here. So as you can see, I'm waking up with an input sequence that should in theory give me EX Shoryuken, but for some reason I'm getting hit by the standing light kick. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, maybe I just mistimed something, so let's take a look at a second example. So let's back up a bit and freeze on the first frame after waking up, and once again pay attention to my inputs. This should give me an EX Shoryuken, but for some reason I'm dying here, and if you take a look at the animation, this is the startup of a regular Shoryuken. How am I getting a regular Shoryuken even though I'm pressing triple punches? So at this point I speculated it had something to do with negative edge, because I do press this with like 3 separate buttons, so maybe I was letting go of one of the buttons earlier than the others, and I might have triggered an accidental negative edge Shoryuken, something like that. Unfortunately, I couldn't really replicate this situation in training mode, so I got kinda stuck at first. Fortunately, I got a lot of help pretty quickly from the developer of sf5sim.com. In case you didn't know, the website is full of really useful information. It's basically a big database for every move in the game. It's super accurate because it's directly taken from the game files, so I highly recommend you check out the website, and you might as well give the guy a follow on Twitter, because without him this video would not be possible, so I'll leave a link in the description below. Anyways, I gave him the replay ID of the match versus this Nikali, and he used a debugging tool to get some extra information so we can figure out what is actually going on here. So here's a short section from the debugging tool. I want you to pay attention to the highlighted line because this is the first frame after waking up. So it starts with Ryu equals 930, and 930 is the script for light Shoryuken, so we know through this tool that I'm actually waking up with a light Shoryuken. And on the right side you can see I'm pressing hard punch, medium punch, and right. And one frame before that, I'm pressing hard punch, medium punch, light punch, right. So this means on the highlighted line, I'm getting a negative edge input for light punch, which in turn is giving me a negative edge input for light Shoryuken. So this is what's happening. After quite a bit of testing with the debugging tool, we came up with 2 general rules to determine which move will take priority on wake up. So the first rule is any input on the first wake up frame has priority over the buffer. So if you have an EX Shoryuken stored in the buffer, it will be ignored if you press or release a button on the first wake up frame. It's interesting to note that negative edge inputs have the highest priority in this case. The second rule is about how the game decides what special move to trigger within the buffer, and it turns out it just uses the last input and that will have priority. So if you do EX Shoryuken and then afterwards you press light punch, and that light punch is still within the buffer, you will get a light Shoryuken, not an EX one. And yeah, it's like an unusual thing to happen, but I still think it's worth knowing, and negative edge inputs are ignored in this case though. So in conclusion, I think the most problematic aspect about this is negative edge having priority on the first wake up frame. This screws up the inputs for people who use 2 or 3 separate buttons for their EX moves, and it just shouldn't be the case. If you do an EX Shoryuken in the buffer, you should get an EX Shoryuken as a reversal. And yeah, basically in order to avoid this at the moment, you would have to press the buttons longer just to avoid negative edge, or you start using one button for triple punches, and I really hope Capcom is gonna take a look into this. So yeah guys, that's about it for today's video. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and if you found this video helpful, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. So guys, thanks a lot for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.